Hello everybody and welcome back to the Down Under Gamer channel. We are here with episode 3 of our Europa Barbarorum 2.3 total conversion mod for Medieval 2 Total War Pontic Let's Play campaign. So obviously those of you that have been following last session, we sieged Trapezus. And we made good and redeemed ourselves after our first disastrous attempt at sieging Sinop in the very first episode of this Let's Play. So that said, guys, we did do a successful siege. Yes, we took some losses, obviously, but nowhere near the Pyrrhic victory that Sinop was. So that said, this turn we're probably going to look at, maybe just doing a bit of upgrading, sort of reinforcing our army. Probably look at maybe disbanding some of these expensive cavalry units. Some of you are probably thinking like, oh my god, this guy's insane. Maybe, but at the end of the day, it's I want to really sort of focus on doing a little bit of economic expansion. So where are we? Financial details, projected treasury. So that's not too bad. We can start working with that. Him. So let's pull this guy. And get them back to our capital. Where did our diplomat go? Here he is. Where are we? So that said, guys, before we jump into it any further, obviously, as always, if you like what we're doing here on the channel, guys, then show your support, smash that subscribe button, drop a like on this video, and feel free to leave your thoughts in the comment section. So let's just go ahead and end this turn. Now, there was some discussion over on the Total War Central forums about whether or not, like hardware issues and all that sort of good stuff. Basically what happened is about 2 weeks ago, guys, I had a major Windows corrupted update, which forced me to then upgrade to the free Windows 10. I've later found out, although it's not official, there's strong evidence to point that Windows 10 has huge compatibility issues with SSD SATA drives. And as a result, it ended up burning out my main drive. So I now am running Windows 10 from an external drive. It is a bit of an older drive, a bit of a slower drive. I do have a new external high-speed SATA drive on order. It's coming from Amazon, but it is going to take a number of, probably maybe another 2 weeks to get here. When that arrives, obviously I'll install Windows on that, plug that into the computer, and obviously see which one gives me the better performance, the one that I'm currently using or the new one. So that could be part of my issues, so to speak. Sure. Oh, and our general and the army are just revolted. So that is just wonderful. Yato! Lohoy! Lohoy! Taxis! There! Alright, so what can we do? A military conquest. Conquering a region grants the right to rule it, and now it should be determined whether it is to be left autonomous or subordinate to military command. What is this one? It's been pacified in preparation for installing a regime friendly to your cause. The first step towards establishing a client ruler who comes from the Island State building, which is next. Let's go with this one. Why not? Let's take it all. So yeah, guys, as I was saying, yeah, so it could be hardware issues as to why I am, but I mean obviously EB 2.3, I think in its current build is about something like about a 6 gig download. To put that in comparison, the biggest mod download I've had for say Rome 2 Total War or Attila Total War is maybe 4 gigs. So obviously EB 2.3 is huge. Naturally it is very demanding. I know when the original EB came out, that was also quite demanding on you know, especially at the time when you were running you know, slightly older machines. But then, you know, it could also be compatibility issues with you know, Windows 10, who knows, there's numerous reasons and potentials and all that sort of good stuff. You know, obviously I'm not a PC and a PC hardware and networking expert or anything like that, so I'm just kind of speculating at this point in time. But at the moment we have a build, it's running. I have dropped the graphics settings down a little bit, so hopefully that should help. Hopefully the campaign continues and we have no major dramas or issues.
Lantano e Poron.
So now that army of ours was bribed and betrayed us, I would say that the rest of this session is basically going to be spent pretty much just going through the building tree, building up the economy, you know, working through all that sort of stuff. And then probably in the next session we'll look at re-expanding the army, and then you know, doing a bit more expansion. Obviously there's a lot of rebel stacks all over the place, so it's definitely going to be a very interesting and very hard fought campaign, this one. So and I think I mentioned it in the previous episode, you know, where we were previously sort of had you know, Hayazdan or Armenia, Ptolemy and the Seleucids to kind of deal with immediately. We now have 2 additional factions in the form of you know, the Cimmerian Bosporus or the Bosporan Kingdom, and obviously Pergamon. So it's very, very crowded around sort of Anatolia in the Black Sea region at the moment. So what does this one do? Local production farming income +2, that's not bad. For TG bonus, trade goods bonus if necessary. No, enables the trading of Zali, diplomats, strategy, the strategist on Helena's unconventional solution for regions. The governed by installing a trusted political strongman, Pontic can be certain his conquest will be looked after, for it is in the interest of the... Okay, so what does this one do for me? So Hoplite, that's always good. Military units obeys military and economic Pontic administration. Without them there would be no professional army nor the logistics to support it. This government type can be established anywhere and allows construction of either Hellenic or native military colonies that are the bulk of troops recruitable here. Okay, now what does an allied state do for me? Doesn't really give me much, it just gives me like the sort of shit troops, I guess. Extends Pontic influence with the least possible amount of intrusion in local affairs, valued by Hellenic communities among whom it is customary to gladly serve in foreign armies in exchange for autonomy in civic matters. Thus this government form is restricted to regions with pre-existing Hellenistic polis buildings. Okay. So we're probably going to save up and go for either the Governor General or the Pontic administration. This one obviously takes 2 seasons, this one takes 8 seasons. So in the fashion of the original... Oh, wow, what is that? Oh, that's pretty cool. Hoplite. Meantime, we got strategic fortifications, strategy, conquer people, may not... Okay. Alright, so we'll build that because it will give us bonuses later on. So, year in history. That's interesting. Rebellious Roman commander at Rhegium loses his sight. Okay, catch a rope. For those of you that are following the channel, in my EB1 Suibos campaign, I actually just had a battle with the Romans where I actually killed Cornelius Blasio. So I don't think he's going to be getting a triumph in that campaign anytime soon. So. Oh, so we got 4 types. Sacred Estates. Okay, what's this one? Tend to water happy and Pacific subject populace by granting extensive autonomy at the cost of direct income. The region does provide for its own garrison, but its replenishment rate is set so low that it cannot serve as a viable source of military manpower for campaigns elsewhere. Okay, so we might now, I'm not sure, anybody who's a bit more familiar with this mod, maybe you can let us know in the comments section. But I know that with the introduction of kingdoms, obviously they introduced things like culture and religion and all that sort of stuff into Medieval 2, which is now obviously big in all sort of future mods, versions of like your Total War series. But I know that when I was playing an earlier build of EB2, sort of when you'd expand out and conquer a province, eventually in time you'd sort of get the option to basically build like colonists. So I'm guessing as your culture would have gradually spread and build up in a particular province, then that would become available to you, because it seemed like it was completely random events. Not entirely sure with that one. But yeah, like I said, guys, if anybody knows a little bit more about that mechanic and how it works, feel free to let us know down in the comment section. So we will probably go for a Pontic administration, I dare say, guys. It just kind of makes sense. That way we get our decent sort of factional troops, better sort of replenishment rates and all that sort of good stuff.
Stockholm, επιλέγεται.
Excuse me.
Lantano, Eporon.
All right.
Lantano e Poron.
For those of you that have been following my other Let's Plays, obviously you're probably aware that I like to do a bit of a balanced game, sort of like a gradual expansion while building the economy and the military infrastructure. Obviously, if I'm playing a very sort of small state like Pontic, we sort of start in a bit of a how do we say, a very challenging position economically, then I generally tend to sort of maybe lead a bit more towards economic development in the early game. So that's sort of, you know, we have that ability to, you know, sort of throw a whole bunch of mercenaries into the fray, sort of in the mid to late game should the need arise, and then the economy's not going to completely collapse. So, you know, obviously this campaign might be a little bit of a slower moving one for some of you, but yeah, just giving you plenty of warning in advance. So year in history.
Stockholm e Legete. Anameno Lantanon. Es Justikotitos Metiakomae.
So this might be a good settlement to target next. Obviously that will bring us into your possible border and maybe even potential conflict.
Grupios Kinoumae.
Well, then there's also the Cappadokes, but obviously they have quite a strong garrison there, so that will require a little bit of sieging.
Digar Grupios Raxo. Gotitos meterkomai.
So as you can see, it doesn't really matter which direction I expand. You know, I'm either going to come into direct contact with Seleucids, Pergamon, or you know, obviously, what do you call them, Hayastan, or you know, the Armenians. So
Eus, Hedoimos, Lantano, Eporon.
alright, so let's build the Pontic administration.
Stockholm, Epilegete. Kataskopos. Grupios, Kinoumai.
Building a sensitive element of support infrastructure for trade caravans that travel through your province, providing such amenities as way stations which can provide caravans with fresh horses, foods, water and security. State can ensure that trade caravans travel more quickly along the route for less cost, raising the level of trade and mercantile income that can pass through the province. This building is the primary method of boosting mercantile income in provinces without a port, and it works in conjunction with the road infrastructure building to provide this bonus. Small scale industry. Let's build a small-scale industry. Why not? So look, guys, we will end the session there. Obviously, just to recap, you know, obviously took Trapezos last turn. Our army we were bringing back to our capital to retrain. Unfortunately, they were traitors. And you know, obviously some dirty diplomat or whatever bribed them and bought them off, or they just rebelled or whatever. Either way, it is what it is. Economy's doing well now, about 2,500 to 3,000 minar a turn. Currently working on and building up our economy and our government infrastructure in our two conquered provinces of Sinop and Trapezos. So once they're up and running and we have access to, you know, some of these up and coming units, you know, obviously the hoplite and all that sort of good stuff, then we will look at expanding out, possibly taking out some of these rebel armies and capturing a couple more of these rebel settlements. So guys, if you enjoyed this video and found it useful, smash that subscribe button, support the channel, drop a like on this video, and leave your thoughts down in the comment section. Apart from that, I hope all of you guys are having a fantastic day. This is the Down Under Gamer signing off. Cheers, mates.